This is the Crazy Monkey New Mexico podcast, and this is your host, Nathan Wagar. I hope everybody had a wonderful new year. I know I did. Right now I'm finishing up some 4-cheese ravioli with sausage and an Alfredo cream sauce that, yes, I made myself, and sipping on some freshly brewed chocolate raspberry tort. Excuse me while I take a sip. You know, really nothing gives you an appreciation of good food like MREs. Oh my god. Except for chicken with cavatelli and spiced pound cake. You know, that was legit. And New Army, you know, I don't know how it is for you guys that are over there now, you newbies, but because I know, you know, they're always giving us the suckers so they can take it away, so they find some food we like and then they yoink it. But if you guys don't still have the chicken with cavatelli with the spice pound cake, then I'd quit. Seriously, because like it's so good. I have one in my house somewhere right now, and just to prove that I'm full civilian, I'm not eating it. It's like a test of my willpower. But it's somewhere in my cupboard, and I know it because I saw it the other day. And it is, I don't even know how many years old. But it's kind of like the timeline. You know, you have before Christ and AD after Christ. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the Army, it's before and after chicken with cavatelli and spiced pound cake. If you don't have it, I'm sorry. And if you want to debate me on that, you know, I'll give you my dead email, nathanwagar1@yahoo.com, and I won't answer, I promise, because you're wrong. Spiced pound cake, guys. But, anywho, the topic for today, we are going to be covering, I get asked this a lot, and it is, hey, how do I fight a bigger opponent? Okay, and, you know, the first few times you get asked that, cool, but after a while, it's like, hey, wait a minute, you know, it's kind of like when people, you know, keep asking me, hey, Nate, how do I pick a lock? And as I'm showing them how to pick the lock, I'm like, wait a minute. What about the way I look made you think that I would know how to pick a lock? You know, is it the too many tattoos? But yes, we're going to talk about how to fight bigger opponents. And first thing I'm going to say right off the bat is this is coming from the perspective of the Crazy Monkey Defense Program. And we are very specific about our distances and the tools that we use. So, if you don't know anything about boxing, you need to learn. And I would do you one better. I would head by www.crazymonkeydefense.com and go to the store. Rodney just released a new set on the CM DVDs. And I'm telling you, these things are great. I'm a trainer. I teach this system, and I am buying these DVDs that he made for you guys. That's how good they are. They have stuff that haven't been covered before that clarifies some concepts. So if you're serious about getting a good game, get those DVDs. Then come back to this podcast, and it'll all make more sense. But until then, you're going to be SOL. Hold that thought. Cool. So, here's the problem a lot of people have. They're out on the rim. They're fighting some tall dude, and they're getting stuffed by his jab, and they can't get in. And when they try their CM2, it just feels like they're doing it into a wall, you know, and they're getting little brother. They're kind of running, and their feet are moving, but they aren't going anywhere. And the guy just stiff jabs, and he moves on out. I know you're having that problem. I had that problem too. Here's the thing that a lot of people forget. A lot of people... You have to remember, there's the rim, and then there's CM2, but there's another distance that people are forgetting about, and it is engaging from the rim. So you're at the rim. The rim shot range is where somebody is, he's throwing his shots out at full extension, okay, and they're hitting your defense. It's the pop, not the push, so you feel it, you know, striking your defense on your forearms, but it's not affecting your structure. So you know if you were to drop your hands, okay, he's a few inches away from you. So what a lot of people do And the way it's taught is all things being equal. So you're fighting, and it's demonstrated with someone that's same size opponent, same size reach as you. It's for demonstration purposes, because mismatched jab reach is kind of, it's a special case and it varies. So that's not going to be the base of how we teach. But you're at the rim, and so you're going to step from the rim, and that would be an engagement, and then you go back to the rim. Now, when you lock into CM2, what a lot of people do is they go into CM2 from the rim, and that is a no-go, guys. You have to cross that engagement space first. So what you would do is, let's say you do the modified duck or the modified slip with that step. So you cross the engagement distance, and from that point, you start your CM2. That's the first thing that I would say. And that step, that can be covered with the punch too. So you could throw a punch, take that step, and then you lock into your CM2. And I promise you that those extra couple inches, all right, that's going to save you right off the bat. And that goes for everybody, whether you're the same size or not. Now, that's all well and good, you might say. But a lot of people, like, let's say you're going against a guy with a longer reach. If you take that step, you're still going to be too far away. Okay, because when we teach the rim, it's presupposing that both of you are the same reach. So if he's one step away from you, you're one step away from him. But here's the thing. If he has a longer reach, he might be 2 steps away from you, whereas you're only 1 step away from him. You see what I mean? So you have a problem. So whereas other people might think of it as a 2-point movement combination, so they step to cover the engagement, and then they step and do a CM2 rock, you have to add a step, because if you were to take a step, you're just going to end up at your own extension, and then you have to take another step to engage, and then you have to take another step to land into CM2 distance. So think of it like this. Think of it like a 3-point combination. So for normal people, they engage, and from that distance, they would lock into CM2. Okay? For you, though, so that's like a 2-point. It's like step, step. You're in CM2, and then you would throw your heavy shots. For you, instead of throwing a jab cross, it's going to be a jab cross hook. So it's going to be step, step, step. So you're going to take that initial step, and then you're going to take that other step to cover the engagement, and then that third step would be the CM2. And these don't have to be big steps. It's a game of inches. But the point is, there's always an extra step. So you might be asking yourself, well, why does it seem like I always have to go further? Well, because you do have to go further. So we need to train this. And so the way I like to do it is I like to think of it as a 3-point movement combination. So for that first step, those first 2 steps where you go up to your rim and then you cross the engagement distance with the second step, you can do whatever you want. You can throw a straight shot that's not meant to land, or you could do head movement, or you could do head movement and a straight shot, or you could do straight shot and head movement, doesn't matter. And then you lock into CM2. And that will keep you moving. And remember, you're following the fight spiral, so you're following the spiral around. You're constantly circling, changing direction. It should look like a hurricane from the top view. All right? And so you're going to take those 3 steps. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, and that's how you're going to work it. And you can drill this on the heavy bag, or you can drill it on, I prefer the double end bag. I love the double end bag. So what you're going to do is you're going to go out a little bit further than you normally would. Okay? And you're going to practice it. Step, step, step. Step, step, rock. Jab, slip, rock. Or it might be slip, jab, rock. Or slip, slip, rock. But each movement is going to be a step, because you have to do that extra bit of distance covering, okay? So that's how you do it. If it was a regular person, you would just do 2 steps. You would cover the engagement distance with a slip or a duck or a punch, and then the next step would be your CM2 rock. But when you're a little guy, you got to throw an extra one in there, okay? And that's the big secret. What else? Oh, the other way that you can do this is a little bit more advanced, and it's by drawing the opponent out toward you. okay? Basically, what you're going to do, there's a few different ways to do it. One is to purposely give an opening to make him attack you. I wouldn't do that because that takes attributes, and let's face it, if you had those attributes, you wouldn't be asking me how to fight a bigger opponent. So a safer way to do it is just to play a tighter, more defensive game and force him to engage. And then he's going to take that step, and then you just have to do the two-step combination, movement combination, so to speak, like a normal person would, because you let your opponent do half of that work and cover that ground for you. So you attack when he's attacking. You got to draw him out to do it. That's the other way. Another thing is, short guys, we have a problem reaching the face. And you see it, and God bless them. And I used to do this too, you know. You see them make that Hail Mary dive where they're like leaning and reaching up, and it's like, I believe I can fly. And you're like, it's like, no. And you just get lit up trying to go for the face. Well, don't. Because the reason why you can't reach his face is because you can't reach his face. So, and I got this tip from Jerry, and it was kind of like, duh. You know, Jerry Wetzel, he's the international kind of director of the CMD organization. And he's like, you hit the body. You hit the body, and if he doesn't like getting hit in the body and dealing with the little guy getting under him, then he's got to change levels with you, and then you can hit his face. And it's like, oh, okay. So remember that Fertile Crescent, guys. That Fertile Crescent, if you go back to the podcast on the vital targets, check that out, and I talk about, you know, the proper places to hit. Aim for that Fertile Crescent. You'll do some damage. He's going to lower his level. If not, you just keep tearing up his body, and then you can hit his face when he lowers his level. If he doesn't, don't worry about it. That's the other thing. Another thing is people, short guys do this a lot too. We come up when we try to hit. You see them, they rise up in their stance to hit the guy. No. And you can try this. Rise up. Have your buddy stand in one spot and stand in front of him at arm's length and kind of push his shoulder. And now rise up and try and push his shoulder. You actually won't push him as hard because you have less extension, not more, when you try to rise up to that person. Now, bend slightly with both knees at the same time and push on the down motion, and you will find that you actually get more extension. So it seems counterintuitive, short guys, you little ones, you. I know, I'm one of you too, but you need to bend and go lower with the knees, not with the upper body. But you need to sink and drop into your shot, and you will actually get more extension, especially on that cross. When you step out on the angle and you drop into your cross from the knees, sometimes, like me, I have a longer cross than I do jab when I do that. You can get a lot of extension, a lot of reach on that shot. And so that's kind of how I cover it. Another cool little thing. And this is back to that 3-point movement combination. And this works for guys. Guys, if you're the same reach as your opponent too, this is just a general across the board kind of thing. But sometimes you'll be throwing combos and like a 3-point combination, let's say with your hands. So jab, cross, left hook. And it's just not getting through. He's blocking all of them. You know it works, and it's kind of funny. It's because a lot of people throw the 3-point on the full beat. So they go jab, cross, left hook. And I'm going to explain this in true evolved chimp fashion by making noises with my mouth. And yes, this is how I do it in the gym too. But when a normal person's throwing a jab, cross, hook, it's usually on the full beat. So it's bop, bop, bop. Now, play with the rhythm though, and you'll find out that the shot that breaks the original rhythm often gets through. What do I mean by that? Well, let's do what we call like the rim shot. So instead of bop, 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 it's bop, bop, bop. That hook is going to sink in because they're going to defend on the rhythm that you set with that combination. Or you could do the reverse rim shot. Bop, bop, bop. See what I mean? And that second shot's going to get in because that's the one that breaks the original rhythm that you set down. And so and you can try that out. Try it out with your 3-point combinations on your buddy who's defending. And if it works with that, it'll work with movement too. So going back to our 3-point combination movement analogy, instead of punches, you're doing steps, right? Normally people step, step, step on the full beat. Instead, break it up. Play with the rim shot. Play with the reverse rim shot, as I like to call it, as I make noises with my mouth. Beatboxing. But play with that a little bit. And you will find that you get in when you're locking into your CM2 a lot easier. And it works with your evasive head movement too. The final thing I'm going to cover is if none of this stuff is working and the guy is just lighting you up, then crash to clinch, guys. I like to do it with a level change so I get past that jab. I mean, on the street, they're going to throw hooks, usually. But you never know. I mean, there's some cholos that can box, believe it or not. They actually do put in the work. So I like to level change just to not worry about that straight shot as I crash in with your 3-point cover or your T-bar or whatever it is you like to do. And latch on. Usually with little guys, underhooks are gold, but here's the thing. If you go against a guy that kind of knows what he's doing and you don't get that initial underhook, it can be difficult because he can stuff it and lay all his weight on you because you're going under him, so you're carrying him basically. If he decides to lay on you, there's a problem. I'm not saying don't go for the underhook. I'm just saying it's something to be aware of. So, I asked my buddy, Erik, he's a mentor of mine as well. Crazy Monkey Northwest. He's head of the national CM organization, so America, Alaska. I asked him what he has a major kind of Muay Thai background. He had 17 pro fights in Thailand, and I was asking him because he's a beast in the clinch. I was like, "What gives you the most problems in clinch?" And he's like, "When a little guy sucks into me and controls my hips." Because face it, little guys, you're not going to control anybody with your bitchin' head control because you can't even reach their jaw with the top of your head sometimes. Those guys are just too big. They will square up with you and just turn your head over the top of your head. It's not going to work, right? So if you're latching on with what we call the straitjacket clinch, I like to use my shoulder around the back and kind of curve it. That helps a little bit. But body locks, and if you're on the street, okay, I like to reach with my hand to the back of their pants like a belt grip in jiu-jitsu, and I suck my elbow in and glue it to my hip. And then I pressure in with my hips and drive. And man, nothing messes with big guys like that. That is my go-to clinch in self-defense. And it's hard for him to hit you. You're underneath him. It's hard for him to block anything you throw at him. It's just, it's a pain in the butt. And the cool thing is, I don't have to worry as much about getting the underhook because it'll work if I go around the outside of his arm too. I just cinch it in and it just locks his elbow against me. And I'll get the back anyway. See what I mean? Always take the back if you can or dump him. And the wedgie gives you so much control over him that you can literally just shuck the guy and take his back, or you can just dump him really easy. It's an awesome technique for self-defense. A position, rather. Excuse me for just a sec. Cool. The only thing I would be aware of is if you go around his arm to grab the back of his pants, be careful because, sometimes there's a small danger that he's going to go up and get the underhook on you because of the space between your elbow. If you don't want to sacrifice that, a little trick I like to do, I don't go all the way for the back. I reach with my hand, my near hand, and I grab his front pocket and I kind of ratchet his pants over and I feed it to my other hand, and then I grab the back of his pants, the wedgie. And then I never really sacrifice that space, and I pulled him into me. And then from there, you just drive. You drive your head into his chest right around his armpit, and you have a lot of control over that big guy. And if nothing is working, even then, you dump him. You dump him and you get on top, not in a mount, because if you've checked out Jerry Wetzel's new book, Red Zone Prime, he covers that. You don't want to do those jiu-jitsu, for the most part, you don't want to do those jiu-jitsu positions that latch you onto the guy like full mount, rear mount with hooks in. Okay, you want a good knee ride. All right, that's optimal. But a little move I like as a little guy, and I've got a lot of little kind of, for lack of a better term, they're little guy dick moves that take sport moves from jits and stuff like that, and it really tweaks them to kind of be a jerk. And if you feel like being, a jerk, and if you're fighting a big guy, you probably have to be a bit jerky. But I do the knee right on his neck, and with my far hand. So if I'm using a right-sided knee right, I put it on his neck, and then I grab his hair with my left hand. Yes, this only works if he has hair. So if he doesn't have hair, then do something else. But I knee right on his neck, and I pull his head up by the hair with my left hand really, really hard. And then if I have to, I post with my right hand. And in between, I whack him a lot. And that is just a really cruddy position to be caught in. But if nothing else works from beginning to end, you can always take him to the ground and end up in a mobile top position. Because with knee right, I can disengage at any time. And so that, guys, is that's kind of my secrets. I can't take credit for a lot of this stuff. I talked to better coaches than me. Jerry Wetzel gave me some of this stuff, and Erik, and it's really kind of funny because Erik is he's like freaking 8 feet tall, give or take, and I'm a little guy going to him for advice. So that just gives you an idea of Erik. He's freaking awesome. So if you want tips and stuff like that, check up Crazy Monkey Northwest. And that's the game, guys. That's how you should approach things if you're short. These are proven. This is a smart, strategic way to approach it. And Jerry Wetzel also has a series out on YouTube called There Be Giants or something like that, I believe. And you can YouTube that, and he's got a series out on fighting taller opponents. So take a look, guys, and stay safe.